Twitter was a storm last night, and rightfully so. Again, let's not even forget that the fourth quarter lead melted down. Let's get to the crux of it. We're bettors. We're in the situation. We're ready to go. Teddy, please tell me the statistical advantages here that we take a look at. Up to, with the ball, getting 7.5 with under a minute to go, and it's a losing ticket.
It's an impossible cover. I mean, it really is. I was trying to decide whether this was a worse beat than anyone that had a Purdue ticket against Virginia in the NCAA tournament. It's of that level. It could be the worst beat in basketball all season. Indiana's got the lead in the ball with under a minute to go. They're plus 7.5. They're down by 3 with the ball with 12 seconds left. You cannot not cover plus 7.5. You can't do it. How'd they do it? Well, they forgot to foul. They failed to foul the and one. Then another turnover on the following possession, which meant they had to foul immediately. And then Hayward sinks the 2 free throws. That's just brutal. I didn't have action on the game. My condolences to anyone that had Indiana plus the points last night. That's as rough as it gets. You will see those in the NBA playoffs. You'll see them, unfortunately, more often than you expect. Take a breath. Take a chill. It's the next morning. If you had Indiana, doesn't mean sports betting's brutal. Well, it is brutal, but these beats can and will happen. You have to psychologically be able to handle them if you're going to do this long term. It's brutal. Go out and smash something for 5 minutes, but don't let it affect you the next day and the day after and the day after that. You're allowed to have a moment. You're not allowed to have 3 days off a brutal bad beat.
Yeah, like everything has to go against you if you have that Pacers ticket. The 2 worst things that could have happened, Teddy, is especially when you're up 2 with the basketball, it's almost better that if you just took a shot clock violation and the game stopped and they had to inbounds the ball, being the Celtics, and go full court. But you get the block, it turns into a fast break the other way. Then it's a 3-point game on the inbounds. Let's just say you inbound it, Teddy, at the top of the key, take 2 or 3 dribbles, fire a 3, and even if you miss it, that's a 4.5 second play if the Indiana Pacers would foul directly right after the miss. But the fact that it goes out of bounds, no time goes off the clock and gives an extra possession to the Celtics. We see it time and time again, but it's just interesting, Teddy. In the NBA, when you have the timeout and you get to advance it into the front court, oh my goodness, that game hurt.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's back-to-back turnovers where no time went off the clock for Indiana at all, and they had to foul, and they were unable to foul the one, which led to the and one situation, which led to the fact that they won by 8 instead of winning by 7. Look, it's just freaking brutal. There's nothing you're going to do about it. They're going to happen once in a while. I'm sorry. What else are you going to say?
Yeah, no, it was definitely brutal because when you take a look at it, the one thing we as sports gamblers have to do, you have to have that short memory. Never say this, Teddy, I'm never betting on those Pacers again. But if they do have value in the next night or the next game, you better be back on that wagon here. NFL schedule release on Wednesday night. Oh, we all there gathered around. A lot of smoke, a lot of fire, but not really a lot of meaning in this. But the Cleveland Browns seem to be the media darlings now, grabbing 4 primetime games. Teddy, going to play the Jets, Rams, 49ers, and Steelers under the bright light. Some interesting stuff as we talked about previously here on that betting show. The Bears play host to the Packers to open the 100th season of the NFL. Some interesting, little caveats in the scheduling here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Teddy, not really good if you're looking to make the playoffs. You'd have a 6-week stretch where you don't have a true home game.
Yeah, I mean, you'll always find these quirks in the schedule, and this is something that if you're a serious NFL bettor, certainly when it comes to futures, you're going to pay a lot of attention to with win totals. All that being said, yeah, the Browns are on TV a bunch of times this year. They're the favorites to win the AFC North. Don't take Cleveland lightly. And of course, the books wasted no time whatsoever. We've got week sides and total, week 1 sides and totals posted for every single game. We'll talk about that later in the show.
Crazy, Teddy. What are we dating back to? Webster Slaughter, Frank Minifield, Bernie Kosar back here. The Browns are actually favored to win the division. Pitch me and wake me up. It's been a long time, but it should be a fun football season and them leading the charge. How about this, Teddy? Sometimes I think we might be in the wrong business here. How about me and you practice up and get our Jeopardy skills in order? Because James Holhauser yesterday takes down $131,000 in a single episode, bringing his total to just under $700,000, Teddy. And when you try to break that down, he's only working in half-hour increments here, Teddy. Not a bad living he's about to make just off Jeopardy.
No, it sure isn't. It's a nice gig if you can get it. Remember, Ken Jennings, the all-time Jeopardy leader, won $2.5 million over a 74-game winning streak. Holzhauer's on pace to surpass his all-time winnings in just 36 games, less than half of what Jennings did it in. And Jennings was as good a Jeopardy contestant as any of us has ever seen. Holzhauer shattering some records, a guy to pay attention to, and someone, unfortunately, who's making sports bettors a little bit more recognizable. Sometimes we like to stay anonymous as we bounce around Las Vegas.
Teddy, 40 for 40, a perfect game. Basically what he did throw yesterday. The thing I feel bad for most about is if you do watch Jeopardy and you're a Jeopardy watcher, my mother-in-law loves it. The people that go on the show, Teddy, and run up against that buzzsaw seemingly has the similar effect to a sports gambler that says, you know what, I'm going to lay 3.5 with the Eagles, and they're down 35-0 by the end of the first quarter. Tough beat, Teddy, if you're going to have that gig going up against this kid, huh?
Yeah, no doubt. You finally get on Jeopardy, and then guess what? You go up against the all-time greatest contestant or one of the all-time greatest contestants. No question. That, too, a bad beat for any of the alternate contestants.
There you go. We always worked in that sports gambling angle here. Take a look at last night's action in MLB, Teddy. 7 favorites win by 1 run, which if you're betting the money line, that's fantastic. But if you're looking to double down and get that extra money on the game, usually a run line is going to incur playing plus 110, plus 120, plus 130, give that added benefit. But in these situations last night, Teddy, run line disappearing here with the amount of value it has. Ouch.
Yeah, exactly. If you were a run line better on the favorites last night, you did not enjoy the final results. Of course, when you have 7 favorites winning by exactly 1 run, that's a rare night. But it also correlates heavily with the totals. Totals went 12-2 to the under last night. And yeah, there's a lot of correlation between favorites covering on the run line and games going over and vice versa. That's why you can't parlay run lines with totals. Books did well on the run line bettors last night. And if you're laying a run and a half, well, there's always a new day today.